Hey guys, it's Ruben with Help Find the Others. Um, Again, I know I start every video apologizing, but sorry I haven't put a video up in a while. I have a lot to talk about. I have a lot of ideas. I've read a bunch of really good books lately, and whatever. But it's summer, and the whole stay-at-home dad thing during the summer really sucks. It's like it sounds like it'd be good, but like totally being responsible for like your kids just not being sucked into a screen is pretty hard to do, and I have just no time to myself. I'm trying to keep them busy and keep us busy, and we've been traveling and stuff. So I just I really haven't been able to focus on this channel this summer, and I'm sorry. But in 2 weeks, they go back to school, and my little one will be in half day preschool. So I'll have like a 3 hour window every day to to refocus on this channel and trying to figure out what my message is and what message I want to spread and how to connect everyone that's been contacting me, because that's where I actually feel I dropped the ball the most. Is I have gotten a lot of emails and a lot of really cool people that I really really want to talk to, and I haven't had the time to. So I definitely want to do that. And if you've messaged me and we've talked about talking or having a Skype chat or WhatsApp videos or whatever we've talked about, I do plan on following through on all that. So keep emailing me if you haven't. Help find the others at protonmail.com. And I want to work towards figuring out some sort of mass communication, because there's a lot of people that I've formed some relationships with through this that I think we all need to start talking. And I don't know if like a live stream with the chat on this channel is a good way to go, or if there's another platform that people know of. I don't know. But I do want to work towards that. Not really like a get together, because people are from all over. Although in the future that would be really cool. But anyway, as far as like not just communication between me and you, but communication between all of us. If someone knows a good way to do that and we can start exploring that, email me. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about a topic that this is going to be so rambly that it only a handful of you are still going to be watching this video at the end. I'll say that. So the topic is more controversial than I thought it was, because I recently, and this is why it's on the top of my head, I've recently gotten several keyboard arguments on Reddit and Facebook about the synergy that I feel there's a synergy and a possibility and a potential moving forward to help each other. And I'm talking about the two like cultures, movements, revolutions, whatever, between psychedelics and consciousness expansion and cryptocurrency or crypto or Bitcoin, whatever you've heard of. And I know just saying that in this video, saying cryptocurrency elicits, three responses. Three possible responses from people watching it. One is, what the hell is cryptocurrency? And if that's your response to me talking about cryptocurrency, I am not the person to learn the nuts and bolts of what it is and everything. Like, do research and look into it after you watch this video, and if it sounds interesting to you, go check that out, because I'm not... I'm talking big picture. If you're interested in the small details, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not going to talk about, the price and stuff like that, or the technical side of it. So if you don't know what it is, there's some research to do and a rabbit hole to go down there. The other two responses that, as soon as I mention cryptocurrency, that people watching this would have is one of, that's stupid. You're stupid for thinking that cryptocurrency is going to do anything and it's going to fail. Or, yeah, I have cryptocurrency. It's the future. So both sides have a completely biased view, And that's if you know what cryptocurrency is. So I believe that there is a synergy both in the rise of popularity of both movements. There's a synergy there going forward and in their history in the rise of both of their popularities. So I'll kind of explain why I think that. I'll try, but like I said, this is going to be rambling. Well, going back, I knew what Bitcoin was probably about 2 years before I invested in it or whatever you want to call it. Before I got involved in cryptocurrency, I knew what it was, but I didn't care. I don't care about money. Usually, I really don't care about money. I kind of follow, if anyone's ever seen the movie Blow, Ray Liotta's line in there when he's talking to George as a little kid when they're at the bank and they get turned down for a loan, and he's like, it's okay, sometimes you're flush, sometimes you're bust, but it doesn't matter. That isn't real. What's real is our love, and I'm sorry, I killed that line. I should have looked it up, but regardless, that's kind of the mentality I've always had with money. I've always been in debt, but I really don't care. I don't I've always been one that spends my money before I get it, or, I'm not big on saving. You can't take it with you, I guess I'd like to leave money for my kids, but other than that, I don't care. I'm a materialist in that guitar's cool, but I'm not a materialist in I need to have a nice car. I don't know. So it's weird. I fight with my materialism and greed and whatever just as much as everyone else, but at the end of the day, I don't usually let it get me down. So anyway, like I said about being a stay-at-home dad, I had the idea that I need to kind of just back away from the 9-to-5 grind and commuting nonsense, and I'm in a dead-end job working for the government. It was just a bad scene for me, and I was like, I really need to make this change. And really, my kids were at daycare for 14 hours a day or something like that some days, and whatever. So I was like, God, and we're paying, what I was making was going right into daycare. So, I was really starting to have that kind of, notion of how do I financially quit my job, to be a stay-at-home dad. And so about that time that I was having all these big questions or whatever, I had a trip. I don't really even remember how much I took, but it was more meditative. I wasn't trying to talk to the machine elves or anything. I was just trying to be able to go deep, right? So I probably took 2-3 grams. I don't know. That doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. But I, because I dragged that kind of financial worry into my trip, that's what my whole trip focused on. My closed eye visuals were, I was seeing ancient trade markets and spice merchants in Asia and all these things that I was really pondering and observing the history of money, and more importantly value, because we could get rid of money, we could get rid of banks, we can get rid of all the terminology that we have that make up the economy, or that's always been there. But it all comes back to value, right? And value might not be a universal constant, although I wouldn't be surprised to find out that it is. But it's at least a part of the human condition that we are all, we go through the same human condition, whether we like it or not. We can believe in our cosmic self and all this that maybe value isn't a part of, but we're all still human. When we wake up every morning, we're a human, and money and value and exchange of value is a part of our life. And so I was just kind of like looking back at how that's been represented throughout human history, and it was just kind of interesting. And then, you know, my visuals took another turn and like fast forwarded to like future. And I noticed that over the course of time, these trade markets and all these, things that were early economy, they started kind of like, that's how like a lot of continents were connected and trade routes and stuff like that, because the markets and economy just started like kind of forming this web, right? And like all over the globe just coming together, and everything's financially driven, and it's all part of the local economies become global economies, and that only gets stronger. And I saw that, and I do remember like looking in my mind and like seeing like a map with like trade routes, and then I was like, God, that looks like mushroom mycelium, and is this all part of like the mushroom's plan to like, connect us? I don't know. And so like I'm having all these crazy thoughts, and then as I see that web, like I'm looking at this the globe and just seeing the connections get deeper and stronger, and I'm like, wow, this has got to be pretty far in the future that we're this globally connected through finances and value. All of a sudden, I like popped up, my eyes open, and I said Bitcoin. And Bitcoin was, like I said, I knew what it was, but it was so far from my from my daily thought that like I wasn't anywhere near buying Bitcoin. Like I didn't know anyone that had any, or I knew like one person that had told me about it, and then the only other reason I knew about it, and the only other reason my friend that had told me about it knew about it and had it, was to buy LSD online. And that was the only reason I had ever even thought about buying it before. I was like, oh, might like to buy some LSD online. I guess you need that Bitcoin stuff. Maybe I'll buy some. And then I was like reading about it, and it looked kind of hard to do and everything. I was like, never mind. And then I never even thought about it again, But that's another aspect of like the synergy behind it, is like, I think if you look at a lot of people that own cryptocurrency now, they started to buy drugs online, And I think, a major portion of my trip was leading me towards that like realization of like, holy shit, it's way bigger than that though. It's not just buying drugs online. Right now, that's its like infantile stage, and we're talking about, blockchain and crypto. It's barely 10 years old. And, so I had this realization. I was like, Bitcoin, oh my God. And so I started like really researching it and everything like that. And I really liked the macro idea of it. I didn't like the micro view is like, oh, it's going to be worth this much and you can make this much money and in 5 years it'll be worth it. All that's garbage. That falls into the same monetary philosophy that I said about like sometimes you're bust, sometimes you're flush. Like I look at money like you're never going to have all that you want, and you're probably always going to have what you need. So yeah, I really never got into the whole like get rich quick kind of thing with cryptocurrency. I was looking at this big picture of what it does for the future, as far as connecting everyone without the bank greedy middlemen that make money off of other people's money. The big view of blockchain is that, well, one of two things: you hold it yourself easily. You easily hold all of your value, on the blockchain, on the network, right? And the other thing is that everyone can see every transaction that's getting made. Those are two very big things that are very different from the way that finances work for most people now. And I think that is totally going to change. There's a big movement towards decentralization. Uber is a decentralized cab service. Airbnb is a decentralized um, hospitality company. Facebook is a decentralized media network. Um, Bitcoin is now moving towards being a decentralized bank, essentially. I think, and this is where I think there's a synergy, is that the rise of psychedelic drugs, along with their proper usage, because that's the key, is that people using psychedelics to find the truth or to find meaning in it all, whatever, and not just as a party, which they're good for too. I mean, I will always say that like it's fine if you're just partying with drugs because it's fun, and you should always do things that are fun. But as far as the big picture with psychedelics, I think that is the start of decentralized thought. Okay, because society wants you to think a certain way. I think that's why psychedelic drugs are illegal, because it's the only thing they can do to stop people from thinking outside the box and realizing that they don't need Big Brother. You need each other. We all need each other, but we don't need someone dictating everything. And everyone is capable of abstract thought, and I think that's what psychedelics represent. And everyone is capable of economic freedom, and that's what cryptocurrency represents. Okay? So I think there's a very similar, I hope that made sense. I don't know. That might have been very rambly, and I'm sorry if it was, but, I guess that's the main point that I'm getting at, is, this view of decentralization and, a network being closed in. Man, that really, that metaphor really describes the movement and the culture behind cryptocurrency and the movement and the culture behind psychedelic drugs. I feel like, and they both have their big picture and small picture. And I think the big picture with cryptocurrency is what I was talking about, the decentralization and the economic freedom that we don't have to be slaves to someone else's corporate profit. But then the small picture is the greed and the trading and the speculation and the Lambos and all the things that's what makes cryptocurrency a controversial topic. Is people that know about it but don't like it because of the small picture, short term, greed and profit, which can be annoying. Well, no, it is annoying. I don't pay attention to that. I'm a in the cryptocurrency world they call us hodlers, and it's hold on for dear life, and that's all I do. I just have it and whatever. I think it's moving forward towards something that is hard to even explain. And then with psychedelic drugs, I think there's the big picture and the little picture too. The big picture, obviously, is all the things we talk about with higher states of consciousness, other dimensions, space travel, time travel, whatever. All the things that are cool to talk about. But there's also the small picture of hey, I took 2 grams, went to a concert, and a laser light turned into an eye. It was cool. That's good too. That's fine. But it can also be annoying to people that are really focused on the big picture of psychedelics. They could be all the people partying with it are wasting time, wasting drugs, wasting whatever. So, the other thing that I want to talk about with cryptocurrencies and psychedelics is their path together moving forward is more important than, the last 18 minutes of rambling maybe seem like bullshit to most people. And that's fine. Like I said, I didn't really expect, as soon as I mentioned cryptocurrency, I'm pretty sure a lot of people clicked off or didn't even click on the video because I'll put it in the title. So if you don't believe in the synergy going back or what I was talking about, that's fine. I don't care. But I think I can make a very good argument for their synergy going forward. And that is in, a big thing that's needed in the psychedelic movement is research. Research and, the ability to start with psychedelic therapy. I think that's the first step, is providing a safe way for people to access the good that psychedelics can do, and I don't mean the deep space exploration. I just mean the humbling nature of having a trip of like, oh my god, all those things that I'm worried about and anxious about and depressed about, they really don't matter. It's all about love. As long as someone can have that experience once in their life on psychedelics, whether that's a gram, whether that's 5 grams, what dosage doesn't matter. As long as you can have that experience of like, all the stuff I worry about doesn't matter. All that matters is love. That's good. So, and that's where I think psychedelic therapy is that first step. And then from there, you figure out who are the real shamans and wizards and whatever, and they can take 30 grams and they can do thumbprints of LSD and whatever. You go from there. But, you know, I don't think that realm is for everyone. So, but that's the research that needs to be done, right? Is like, how do we do psychedelic therapy? Like, you know, obviously there's ancient traditions of like ayahuasca ceremonies that are essentially psychedelic therapy, but how do we adapt that to the Western, you know, the Western culture that has taken over the world, right? And the government definitely, and the traditional like grant writing and all that, all the money from the government that could go towards research definitely doesn't want to. The government wants to keep psychedelics illegal. So the other way around that is through cryptocurrency, and there's a big aspect of cryptocurrency that involves donations, because when cryptocurrency, since it's so volatile throughout the year, when it's at a real high, you can donate it to 501c3s, and you can take that tax break and count it towards all of your profits that you make from trading. So there's a lot of people that make a lot of money trading cryptocurrencies. Well, if they donate it when it's really high, then they don't have to take any capital gains tax off their profits for the rest of the year. So you'll see this. If you look back in like January, when cryptocurrencies were at their all-time high, look up cryptocurrency donations. There is, you know, a bunch of the biggest like people that own the most cryptocurrency all donated it around that time. Okay? And one of them, and this is where it ties back into psychedelics, one of them is MAPS, the Multidisciplinary Association for Psychedelic Studies. Okay? Great nonprofit, right? Rick Doblin is the guy that started it. If you don't know his life, look him up. Oh my God, it's amazing. And it really, his life gives my life perspective of like, you know, when I feel lost and hopeless, like I'm like, you can look at his life and be like, oh, it'll all work out. So anyway, in January, someone donated $1 million worth of Bitcoin to MAPS. And I believe, I couldn't find all the data, and mainly because I don't know the avenues to look it up, but I believe that was their largest donation for the year so far. And it was cryptocurrency. Okay? So that's where I think going forward, if people that are trying to do something interesting research-wise or you know, just movement-wise or whatever, and are finding it hard to gain funding from, you know, standard venture capitalists or you know, whatever route people get funding from banks, whatever, you know, to start an idea, to start a project, to start, especially a nonprofit. I think, you know, reaching out and kind of pulling some people from the cryptocurrency world can really help the psychedelic movement go on. Again, I'm also going to put a cryptocurrency donation address for my own usage in my video descriptions. And so when you start seeing that, don't think I'm like begging for money, but I'm just putting it out there. Enough people are watching my videos that if someone has a bunch of Bitcoin or crypto or whatever, and it's like, I'll throw that guy a couple nickels, that's great. That'll be great. And I shouldn't miss that opportunity. But I'm not like begging for money. I'm pretty tight financially because of the whole stay-at-home dad thing. But other than that, like I'm not begging for money. I didn't start this YouTube channel to make money, but I'm gonna throw that address out there just because I know that community is very giving, and I'm just throwing it out there. um, so that's what I think the psychedelic community can gain from the crypto community, but I also think the crypto community can gain from the psychedelic community. The developers and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the uh, articles about Silicon Valley and they all microdose and stuff like that. Yeah, that's the thing. Is like all the people developing these crazy world changing financial systems or whatever. Maybe they need a little peek beyond the veil to get some inspiration and stuff like that. So the I guess my main point is that these two uh, movements that are gaining popularity of cryptocurrency and psychedelics seem to not like each other, or at least the psychedelics people don't like the cryptocurrency people. But I think there's a really big opportunity moving forward to help each other grow and gain popularity and really accomplish their missions. So I don't know. If that was too rambly, I'm sorry, guys, but that was just what was on my mind today. And I'm not an expert in either avenue, but I just, I see the synergy, and that's it. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, so don't buy cryptocurrency because I said anything in this video. But it's definitely something to start looking at as a psychedelic, person. You shouldn't discredit cryptocurrencies just because of the greed and profit seeking that seem to be at the forefront of that movement. The big picture behind it is pretty psychedelic, if you ask me. So again, I'll probably have another video in a couple weeks or something. I don't know, but keep emailing me. Help find the others at Proton Mail. And like I said, I'm going to start putting my cryptocurrency donation addresses in the descriptions, and don't be alarmed by that. Don't think I'm trying to profit off of this. It's just that it's a tip jar, I don't make any money off of YouTube. I'm probably gonna post all my videos on a couple other sites like Steemit and DTube and some other things that maybe I can make some money off of it or whatever. But again, that's not what I'm in this for. I I want to spread the message, and I don't expect financial reward for that. But anyway, I hope everyone's having a good summer. Unfortunately, I'm glad mine's almost over. But I will talk to you guys soon. All right, peace and love.